Here's how to achieve mastery of anything. And the reason why it's important is because mastery, in my definition, is when something very difficult becomes absolutely automatic. Like you were trying to play an instrument and you have to use an enormous amount of focus trying to learn it, really, and it's exhausting. But at some point, you practice it so much that it becomes as easy as brushing your teeth, which is, by the way, also a thing that you've been doing a lot, and therefore you can do it while you're thinking about other things. So mastery is automation, and if we can master some of the key tasks or some of the key disciplines and skills that we need in order to achieve what we want in life, then things become really easy. And it's not until you reach mastery that you can actually focus on mastering the next thing, because before mastery, you're going to use too much conscious focus to make your stuff happen. So how do we do it? Well, the first element of mastery, or to attain mastery, is that we don't really get how much it takes or what it takes. It's not like you say we have to use 10,000 hours in 7 years until we master something. That's absolutely bogus. Because what it really takes is, instead of learning, mastery isn't learning. Mastery is repetition. So normally we think when we go to school, we learn a lot of different disciplines and skills. And, we go to school, we sit on the bench and we have, one curriculum here and another there. And then we go from class to class. That's not how you achieve mastery. Mastery is an intense focus on something so small that you can repeat it over and over again until it becomes an unconscious automatic pattern in your brain. And it might be language. Let's just take learning Spanish, for instance. Most people would go about it by taking Spanish lessons. And they would, perhaps read a book in Spanish or try to learn it from the bottom up, right? Do something every day, take classes, as I said. But if you want to master Spanish and you want to do it in just so fast that everybody's going to go, wow, you're talented, I didn't know you had such kind of talent for learning languages, then what you do is that you decide for 3 months to only watch Spanish language movies, right? You start your day by learning Spanish. You download the right app to your phone and you study it as many times throughout the day as you possibly can. You focus on one thing, like, sitting across a table for somebody at a dinner, and then you learn everything there is about what could you possibly need to say in a situation like that. See, most people, they just spread across the whole board and learn all kinds of stuff. They start with grammar, then they start with this, then they go to that, and this and this and that, but they never really master the levels they leave before they leave them, which makes you just an amateur in the long run, right? What would it mean to you if you could sit down, let's say you want to learn Spanish, and you can sit in a restaurant and you can talk perfectly. You can understand everything that's said about the menu and what to eat and everything on the menu with the foods and what's in them. You could ask for drinks. You could say, this is too warm, I want a colder drink, right? What if you could master that one situation at the highest level possible, so nobody could hear that you weren't actually born in that country? Wouldn't that be amazing? That's another thing with mastery, by the way, that it excites you, because here you have a focus that is intense on a specific part of that language. And then you kill it. You go all in, right? You learn about it, you read about it, you learn the language over and over and over again. You say the same phrases over and over again, and you refine them until you get them out perfectly. That's exciting, right? Because instead of being so with Spanish for the rest of your life, which is what we achieve when we learn it the usual way, then you get to really master something small that is a result that you can really be proud of. And then other people will say, wow, that's amazing. Little do they know that if you just step outside of that situation, you can't speak a word, right? But if you do that, then you'll be motivated to go for more, to go for another situation, to talk about something else and become a master of that, right? And that's how it is in any area of skill. With instruments, for instance, instead of trying to learn long songs and learn a lot of chords on the guitar, then you take 2 chords and you go round in a loop, like incessantly, in the morning, in the afternoon, as many hours a day you play in front of the TV, you just repeat those 2 chords over and over and over again. And after like 4 weeks, you will be a master of playing just those 2 chords. And all your other classmates who was trying to learn guitar as well, they can't play anything. They play everything they learned poorly. You can do those 2 chord songs like a champ, right? So you feel talented again, even though you just know the mechanics of mastery, really. So, and it doesn't matter what it is. If it's self-discipline, if it's public speaking, then most people would go about public speaking as taking classes or reading books about it and then practicing it. We don't need practice for mastery. We need training. So if public speaking, just get out, talk to your family members in the beginning and do it several times a day. Get up and do a speech in your family every single night. Just repetition is the training over and over and over again. And then you go out into the street. Then you sign up for as many things where you can imagine that you would have to do some speaking in front of other people. You just go all in massively, right? And that's the way to really go from 0 to 100 in record time. Doesn't matter what it is, right? If you want to sleep better at night, then you don't dabble with it. You don't go, I'm just going to read a couple of books on it. No, become a freaking expert, right? Become the 1% in the population who knows more about sleep, what to do about it, how to have great sleep, how to do the hormones, the everything, the things you can eat, when the sun goes up and down, you become an expert on all of it. And that really is just an amazing experience instead of dabbling with everything. And that's what we do. We dabble with everything in general. And that's why we achieve so little results from the things we learn. Go from learning, say, I don't want to learn stuff. I want to master stuff. I don't want to practice stuff. I want to train myself, right? Like if you want to become good at football, you don't play football. That's what we normally do is just play football, right? I play football 3 times a week. If you want to become a champion at that and in record time, you take the ball, you place it in one place on the playing field, the same place every time in front of the goal. And then you say, I want to hit that area of the goal, the top triangle, right? Then you stand there with that ball and then you kick it and you try and practice, train. The same thing. So other people, they have fun, right? And that's okay too, if that's what you want, right? But if you want to become a master, you pick one small area and then you kill it. You stand on that point and then you kick the ball 1,000 times a day until you can hit that. You can walk up to the ball on that specific spot on the playing field and kick it right up where you want it. That's magic. That's mastery. It becomes automatic. And the magic about it, I should say, is that when you attack anything like that, then just imagine what happens when you can do that with the ball on the playing field, or when you can sit down and have a totally natural conversation around a dinner table or in a restaurant in Spanish, right? And you can't do anything else. You haven't been practicing dribbling or doing anything else. That's the only thing you can do. But what happens to your mind, to your brain when you do something like that? Well, first of all, you suddenly have an identity of one who masters Spanish or one who masters football. People don't know that that's the only thing you can do. But also, you created a pathway in the brain that will serve as a model for how to learn everything else. And you go from an enormous success experience and from the identity of being able to do something as magical as that, and you have really high expectations for the rest of your training, right? Because now, wow, I could do magic there, I can do magic here, and I can take these amazing steps of skill on a mastery level from one to the other. And you have an extreme level of self-belief, self-confidence in that process, because you create real magical mastery results one at a time. And the pathway you created in your brain will make it so much easier to learn the next kick, to learn the next thing, because now there's one thing you master, and that thing looks a little like other types of kicks, kicking from another place on the playing field, kicking from one player to another. Right? And so it's just amazing what it does. It's like if you have a graph where you have a flat line and you want to, learn the whole area, whether it be Spanish or self-discipline or getting up in the morning or whatever it is, right? You can then take everything up like that. The whole of the language of Spanish, you just move up like this, right? And you become good at this and all across the board. Or you learn football, and you practice a little of that, then you do this, then you kick, then you run around, then you whatever it is, right? And then gradually you ooze up through the graph here. But you can also say, okay, I'm just going to take one thing, one skill within the skill of Spanish or football or whatever it is, and I'm going to push that up all the way up to the top, right? Until I reach mastery. It's effortless now. Then what happens is you do this with the graph. And so you push the whole middle up. And what happens is that this skill here, this might be kicking just right at that point on the goal. This might be kicking to your fellow players on the playing field. This might be, so the more the skill looks like what you master, the easier and faster it is to master. So you don't get to just practice and master one thing out of 1,000. Suddenly, you already have become good at so many other things that looks like that key skill, right? Because everything's connected with it within any key skill, like learning a language, learning an instrument, learning to play football or any other sports, right? So I hope this really makes sense to you, because it does to me. I've been using these principles all my life, and you know, it's just like once you've done it once, and I mean just one sub-skill of one overall skill, like kicking the ball from there to there and being just the master of it. Once you did that, it's like the brain just goes crazy. I can do anything now, because you're not good at it. You're not okay at it. You cannot just do it. You're a master at it, and that feels amazing, because what seemed before as a magical quality or skill is now super easy, like poof, right? So, listen to this video again until it's just embedded in your brain. So next time you embark on a mission to learn anything, stop the learning, stop the practicing, and start training instead for mastery. Don't forget to subscribe and go download our free course, and I hope to see you in the next video.